G'day guys, it's Mitch Lees again from ADB Magazine. We're here in the beautiful Victorian High Country testing the new Royal Enfield Himalayan Manna Black. Now this is their off-road spec Himalayan, and the last time I actually rode the Himalayan was in the Himalayas themselves in October of 2023 when they launched this new bike, the 450. Now it took over from the 410 or the 411 I should say, the old Himalayan. And if you hadn't had a chance to ride this new version in the last year and a half, I recommend you do, because it's a far superior product to the previous one. But yeah, the last time we rode this was in the Himalayas, and we had 3 days and we had an absolute ball. We tested these things in all kind of situations, typical Indian traffic, so overheating in the one spot, nothing went wrong. So slow traffic, no overheating. We tested them in the snow, we tested them crossing through rivers, obviously beat up, awful rocky Himalayan tracks, and this bike survived all of it. Now I've seen what feels like millions of these Himalayans in 2 trips I've done across to India, to the Himalayas. Each trip's been about roughly 10 to 14 days, and I've never actually seen one parked on the side of the road. So, I think this Himalayan is actually, our dirt bike version of what Top Gear did with the indestructible truck, the Toyota Hilux. That's the Royal Enfield Himalayan of the adventure world. Now, in the coming months, we're going to do a test on this bike specifically for that. We're going to take it single track riding. We're going to take it up hills, down hills, up hills, down hills. It's probably going to get crashed. It's going to maybe it'll overheat when we're trying to get up hills. We're going to try and run all the rubber off the tyres, and we're going to try and do what Top Gear did with the Hilux and see if we can kill it. We don't think we'll be able to. But let's talk more specifically about this Himalayan Manna Black. So this is their more off-road spec. There's nothing radically different in regards to performance. It's still the same machine that we tested back in the Himalayas, so still incredible engine and really torquey off the bottom. And the suspension, while it's soft, it's adventure spec. The Showa fork is pretty reliable. It never kind of wanders, it never pushes or anything else. Performance-wise, the Himalayan is still just as good as it was, but the other bits and pieces they've updated for this particular model just make it a little bit better for off-road use. So I'm going to run through them really quickly. Things like this grab handle at the back is convenient if you need to pick the bike up and lift it over a rock, or drag the rear end around if it's dropped down a little bit. It's got these hand guards that now come standard. You could always get a set of wraparound hand guards, but they were an accessory when you wanted to buy the other version of the Himalayan, and they've been pretty convenient. We haven't really had too many crashes over these last day or so testing, but they look solid enough to hold the bike up even with gear and prevent it from breaking levers. You get a bar pad on the crossbar too. I guess if you kind of take off on an erosion mount, and because the suspension is soft, your head manages to come down and hit the handlebar, you'll get a bit of protection from the bar pad. It gets this nice flat rally seat. Now that makes this seat taller, the rally seat. Like all rally seats we see on so many adventure bikes, it just lifts the seat height a little bit. I'm 188 centimeters and the height is fine for me. I actually prefer the seat height. I think you get that little bit better rider triangle between your arse, the foot pegs, and where your knees bend. So the seat gets a big tick from me. It's also scalloped pretty nicely, so you can kind of still get your legs on the ground. While it's high, it's not wide, so you kind of, your legs are getting pushed out. It gets this fancy rally looking rear end that's now black. It misses the racks that you get on the previous Himalayan, but that's because they're going for more off-road rather than adventure with this model. Now we did hear as well that the plan with this rear section was actually to make this capable of carrying water or oil. Now they obviously haven't done that. That was some of the rumours we heard in the original designs, but it'd be cool in the future to see Royal Enfield turn these Manna Black sections into oil or water holders. And it also gets tubeless rims. Now the tubeless rims, as a dirt bike guy, I was a little bit nervous. In fact, when they first said tubeless, I was thinking to myself, tubeless as in like the Moose version of tubeless, which we run in our hard enduro bikes, which allows you to run pretty much a flat tyre without it actually going flat. It's not that version with the Tubeless. This is an actual tubeless rim. Yeah, so I was nervous about it at the start, but my nerves were kind of quelled when we did get a flat tyre yesterday afternoon. One of the testers here got a flat, and rather than having to pull the wheel off, pull the tube out, we were able to plug it with a plug kit, and it was a real quick and simple fix, and the plug actually held pretty well for the rest of the afternoon. We're going to test it all today. With the plug, we're going to cross some rivers, we're going to go through a whole bunch of dirt and rocks, so we'll see if that plug holds. The issue a lot of riders have with the tubeless system, especially off-road riders, is that if you smash into a rock hard enough and you just ding the edge of the rim, or you crack a rim, you can lose air pressure and therefore get a flat tyre. we race these things pretty hard. Yesterday I was chasing lead rider Chaz, who's a pretty handy off-road guy, and we were kind of pushing each other to the limit of this bike, valve bouncing in and out of corners, smashing into tree roots, smashing into rocks and into gutters, and we never really had any major problems with bending or dinging or 50-centing a rim. So they're strong, they're tough, and yeah, that tubeless system works with a rim that's pretty strong. And because it's spoked wheels too, you've got a little bit more give in the rim than you would with an alloy wheel. Apart from that, that's pretty much the main parts on the Himalayan Mana Black. Like I said, if you have seen our reviews on the previous time we tested this back in October 2023, you'll know how good this is as an adventure bike as a whole. Personally, if anyone was to ask me, they want to cross Australia, they want to circumnavigate Australia, what bike should I do it on? I've got 10 grand. I would recommend the Himalayan. We've found that it's bulletproof. We're going to test that further in the next couple of months. Performance-wise, it is excellent. It's got a good riding position, standing or sitting. The motor has got plenty of power through the rev range, and you get a shovel fork in it, which is pretty impressive for a model under $10,000. And you get a whole bunch of little bits of tech. You can connect your phone up to a new screen and other bits and pieces. And we even found the fuel injection when we were climbing in the Himalayas to God knows how high we were. We never had issues with the fuel injection. It kind of meted the fuel perfectly. So it is a really, really good adventure bike, and it's exceptional value for under 10 grand. So yeah, if you're looking to do something around Australia and you want a bit more of an off-road spec adventure bike, the Himalayan Black comes with the handguards, it comes with the rear grab handle, it comes with this more off-road looking rear end, the tubeless rims, the bar pad on the front. So yeah, it's a bit more of an off-road spec bike, and I think for an extra $400 or $500, it's probably worth the money. So yep, stay tuned as we come and we test this bike again in our can we kill it scenario. And yeah, will it be the indestructible adventure bike? I guess we'll wait and see. And we'll get back to you when we're doing more testing with this machine in the next couple of months.